This video is part 1 of my 29 days trip to Guangzhou, China from 15 September to 14 October 2025. Before going to China, it's very important that you make proper preparations and you got to make sure that you have Alipay and WeChat Pay on your credit card. On the Alipay app, you have to upload your passport and a bank credit card onto Alipay. Likewise for WeChat Pay, this to enable you to make payment easily when you are in China. The Alipay and WeChat Pay cards will be linked to your credit card. The credit cards that can be used are bank credit cards like those from Union Pay or other banks, maybe Citibank for example. It would be good also to bring extra credit cards like example Diners, Visa, Master, Union Pay, and also bring an ATM card. This is just in case you have any payment issues with Alipay or WeChat Pay. At least you have other source of funds. The other useful apps you can download are trip.com to book tickets for attractions places and tourist places, and you also need the metro map for that particular city you're going to, and you need also a map. Google Map can be used, but you can only be used when you have a VPN. I suggest using the V1 VPN or Hidify VPN. You need also a compass map so that you can orientate your direction whenever you go to a place that you're not familiar with. Klook app is a useful app that can be used to book tourist attraction places online. Make sure to bring also some China currency cash, although you may not use it that often because most people are using WeChat Pay or Alipay for payment. And before you go, I suggest you get this Ni Hao mobile SIM card from Shopee. So once you get a card, you can then put it into your second phone, and then you can register by sending your passport details and download the Ni Hao mobile app so that you can make payment every month for the SIM card. When you get a passport stamp when you're already at China immigration, then you send this immigration stamp to Ni Hao mobile app, and then they will activate your China SIM card. Of course, you need to send the passport details to the Ni Hao mobile app also. It's always good when traveling to other countries to book your air ticket 6 months to 9 months before the travel date, because this will enable you to get very cheap air tickets. Now, since I'm traveling after midnight, I arrive at the airport way before midnight using the MRT train, because taxis and Grab cars are very expensive after midnight. My flight is after midnight, so what I do is I get to the airport at Changi Airport before midnight using MRT train. So I'm very early and I just walk around the airport to kill the time before my flight. Air tickets are usually cheaper after midnight. So that's one reason why I bought the plane ticket, but the plane flies off after midnight. Okay. But the problem is taking a plane after midnight is that you want to get to the airport, it's expensive to use a Grab car or taxi. That's the reason why I use a MRT train, which is very cheap. Notice that the airport is so quiet and there are not many people at this time because it's already so late. If it's near midnight or after midnight, the airport is not busy. There are very few people there. As you can see from the video, very few people. This terminal is Terminal 1, Singapore Changi Airport. There are 4 terminals at Changi Airport, and this is Terminal number 1. I'll be taking the Scoot. I'm taking the Scoot plane from Changi Terminal 1, arriving at Guangzhou Baiyun International Airport. And my plane will take off at 5:15 AM morning, arriving at 9:25 AM at Guangzhou Baiyun International Airport at 9:25 AM, which means the total flight time is 4 hours and 10 minutes. Singapore and China, Guangzhou, both, there are no time difference. The clock in both cities are the same. If you're traveling to China, it is most ideal that you at least have basic, that you at least know basic Chinese language. Okay, Chinese Mandarin is very important because not many people, there are not many people who are fluent in English language in China. Okay, so you should at least know basic Chinese Mandarin language, and if you can read Chinese character, that will be even better. Okay. When I'm in China, I don't have problem communicating with the people, whether it's the front desk, reception of hotel, or the Didi car driver. Didi is equivalent to Grab, but in China there's no Grab, and yeah, for me it's not much problem in communicating with the people of China using Chinese language. My only issue is sometimes I may forget certain Chinese characters. Okay, so I might forget the character. So that's the only problem. But if it's common Chinese characters, for me it's okay, no problem. Only if the character is one that I seldom use, I might forget. But for talking with normal people in everyday situations, I don't have much problem with that. If you are if you don't know any Chinese Mandarin language, I suggest that before you travel to China, you try to learn all the common Chinese characters. Okay, so this will be very helpful to you when you get to China. One good idea is that before you go to China, you try to learn 5 to 10 Chinese characters per day. If you can master about 2000 Chinese characters, you should be able to interact with other people easily using Chinese Mandarin language, and you should be able to read some of the signboards. You can see that the airport is very quiet and there are so few people. I'm one of the few people at the airport. This is Singapore Changi Terminal 1. It's very quiet because it's near to midnight. That's why there are not many passengers. My plan in Guangzhou is I will visit one tourist attraction place each day for my 29 days in Guangzhou, China. But on certain days, if I'm feeling very tired, I might not go out of the hotel room, and I will still need to do some of my work online while I'm on my this 29 days vacation. Prefer to visit one city and stay there for 29 days rather than going to like 10, 20, or 30 cities. Because if you were to go to many cities, right, a lot of time is wasted. You end up only enjoying maybe 10% of the time. The other 90% is spent just traveling and taking planes and long distance trains. That's why my idea is to stay in one city for 29 days. In this case, it's Guangzhou City. Stay for 29 days and try out the various tourist attraction places. I hope to try maybe 20 to 25 tourist attraction places. All right. I think this is very efficient. I will use a metro train, the metro MRT or subway to travel from the hotel to various parts of Guangzhou. I know that the metro train for each journey costs only about maybe I think 4 to 6 yuan. So that's about maybe 60 cents to $1. Singapore 60 cents to $1 plus. Okay, it's very cheap. And then from the hotel, between the hotel and the nearest subway station, I can use Didi card, which will cost me about maybe 15 yuan to 20 yuan. That is only about $4, I think. Singapore $4. So by this method, I will able to visit about 20 to 25 places all around Guangzhou during these 25 days. And at each place that I go to, I'm going to stay there for a few hours, between maybe 3 to 10 hours at each place. So I don't need to rush. I can just relax, take my time. I don't like to rush. In case you're wondering how I manage to afford going for 29 days vacation, okay, what I do is about maybe 6, okay, between let's say 5 to 9 months before my trip, I'll be keeping a watch out for cheap air tickets. Okay, I will go to Google Flights or Skyscanner. I'll put my starting location as Singapore, and then I will click the button that says to fly to anywhere, and then I will put the dates that I'm available, and then after that I will have a list of places, list of cities which I can travel to with the air ticket prices. So this way I will able to see which city has very low air ticket price. Like for example, for my case, I saw that Guangzhou had a very low Singapore dollar 221 two-way air ticket from Singapore to Guangzhou. That was when I made the booking around January 2025. So after searching around, I found that this seems to be the city with the lowest air ticket from Singapore in China, and hence I then make a booking. Okay, and I secure a Singapore 221 two-way air ticket from Singapore to Guangzhou. So that's one way I managed to get very cheap air tickets, which is much cheaper compared to if you make a last minute booking. Alright, so that's one way I can save my money. And then the other thing is, when I book a hotel, I do not look for 4-star, 5-star or 6-star hotel. I look for the 2-star or 3-star hotels. The logic is that since I'm going there to try all the various places, right, I don't need a 5-star hotel. Why would I pay a few $100s just to sleep on the bed, right? So what I did, I just booked the cheaper hotels. Like my hotel costs 15 Singapore dollars per day, which is US $12 per day. So even if I have to stay 1 month, it doesn't cost me that much, right? I would rather spend my money on the trying out various interesting activities, rather than paying for a very expensive hotel. Now walking to the gate where the plane will take off. Okay, walking to the gate using this belt.
Mind your step.
It's always advisable to go to the gate in advance. Don't last minute rush. I really don't like last minute rush. It's so stressful. Remember once when I was in Manila, right? Was with my lady friend. Then she was very easygoing. Even when the plane was going to take off already, she was still eating at the restaurant. She was taking her own sweet time. And then in the end, both of us had to run towards the gate, and we almost missed the plane. So that's why I think it's always a good idea to go to the gate in advance. Don't wait until the last minute. It's too risky and too stressful. The plane is now on the way from Singapore Changi Airport Terminal 1 towards Baiyun International Airport at Guangzhou City, China. And I'm looking out on the plane, looking at the beautiful scenery outside the plane. Very nice, huh?
Yeah.
Blue.
The blue is nice, huh?
Yeah, very nice.
You see, this is the glass, see behind so bright already. You know, right? This is the.
Just now it was very dark, suddenly became so bright.
The glass, right? Behind the window is brighter.
Is it?
You see that?
Oh yeah, how come?
Because
Different glass.
the glass.
Maybe the glass different.
So I see how come the sky is so nice. Is it possible? Doesn't mean the sky.
For me, because of the glass.
Yes.
I thought really so nice. So the glass is like a beauty edit.
Yeah.
Edit. aeroplane. No, scan here.
No.
No Wi-Fi, but you can scan here. You can see the aeroplane, the path, and the speed, and the timing. Then here. But no Wi-Fi lah. You just only can see the no external network, but only see the slot information. Vietnam now. Slightly north of Vietnam, South China Sea.
No.
South China Sea. Wow, you can see the boat below, eh? You can see the boat. You can see the boat below.
You can't see.
Oh, scan this one?
Cannot.
Oh, this one cannot block.
No. Even I scan.
I don't know your phone. I scan, I can get the path of the aeroplane. Coming down already on the plane.
So it's reaching.
Yeah, they're turning already. That means about to reach already. Coming down already. Just now I was chatting with two ladies from Singapore who were sitting beside me on the plane. One of them is a property agent. We exchange phone contacts. We were chatting about the window just now. The blue tint in the aeroplane window is actually due to chemical reaction. Inside a gel that's between the window panes, and the amount of tint is controlled by a low electric current flowing inside the window. But it really looks beautiful, right? Window. I mean the scenery outside due to the blue tint. Turning already. Changing directions, heading to the airport now.
island.
Philippines.
I can see
You
the
can
big
see,
island,
you can
yes.
see.
There below. Wow, so nice.
I see from the camera.
There, a small island here. Rocky Island. This island is like on some hills and mountains.
Beautiful, ah.
That island here.
Wow, beautiful, eh.
There, Rocky Island. Very rocky, you know, Rocky Island.
Rocky Island. Rocky Island.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we are landing shortly, please wait until the fasten your seatbelt. For safety, your attention will be used. Thank you. 各位乘客，飞机即将着陆，请您继续保持居住并扣好安全带。在此时刻，请不要使用洗手间，谢谢。
Reclaimed land, eh? Look like some is reclaimed land.
Have any of you done solo traveling before? That means you go traveling by yourself alone for a few weeks. Have you done that before? The advantage of solo traveling is that you can do whatever you want. You can plan your own program. You don't need to take into consideration the other people, right? You are the one who make the decision about where to go, every day and how long you stay there. And if you're alone, you just cover only for your own cost. But the disadvantage of solo traveling is that there's nobody to take photos for me. So I usually end up having to do do selfie, which is not so. I mean, in a selfie, the photos won't look that good, right? Or the other way is to ask strangers to help me take a picture. I mean, but I don't feel good to keep asking strangers to help me take pictures. So what happens is that when you go solo traveling, you will not have so many photos of yourself. Whereas if you go with one or two other people going in a group, you will have a lot of photos of yourself together with your friends. If you're alone, you'll probably spend more time taking photos and videos of the scenery, of the surroundings, and of the other people in that location. One disadvantage of traveling in a group is that in a group, some people may like to spend time going to beautiful shopping malls or beautiful restaurants, and then trying to take lots of glamour pictures. And some others might prefer to do adventures like going horse riding, right? So the problem with traveling in a group is that you may not get to do things that you really like. You may end up spending a lot of time doing things which you're not so interested in, right? Whereas if you're alone, you can do whatever you like. Okay, like for me, I like to do extreme sports. I also like to go to shopping malls. I like almost everything that's interesting. Whereas certain people, you go with them, they only like certain things only and nothing else. Love to look down through the aeroplane window and look at the beautiful scenery. Usually it's either the thousands of buildings below. Sometimes you can see many islands in the sea. So interesting, really interesting. That's why I always try to choose window seats. The takeoff and landing happen in the daytime is better because in the daytime you can see the scenery much more clearly compared to doing it on night time. Which is actually greater value for money and more interesting, you think? Is it better to travel to 5 cities in 5 countries in 8 days, which I think is very rush? Or is it better to travel to 1 city in 1 country for 29 days? Which is better? My opinion, if you were to travel to 5 cities in 5 countries in 8 days, I would think a large portion of the time is spent packing and unpacking and traveling on the plane and traveling on the road or on the train, and then at each place you probably, because you're traveling to 5 cities in 5 countries in 8 days, right? So most likely when you go to 1 city in 1 country, you will likely be very rush, in a big rush, okay? You probably, maybe let's say you want to go to museum, you go to museum and then you just go in for half an hour and come out. But the journey time to the museum and the journey time going away from the museum maybe is 3 hours, and then you go to the museum half an hour, you go in, you see 5% of the entire museum and then come out. So in my opinion, trying to cover many cities in many countries in a few days is actually a waste of time and a waste of money, because at every place you cannot stay long because you are trying to cover so many places within such a short time, right? I mean, it looks very impressive to tell people, oh look, I went to 5 cities in 5 countries. But actually, in every city, each place you go in maybe only for half an hour, whereas your travel time maybe 3-4 hours, and then each time you go into the tourist attraction place, you only stay half an hour. So it's actually a huge waste of time, and nothing much is achieved. You don't really see much. You just spend most of the time on the road or waiting at the airport or flying on the plane, right? The actual enjoyment is actually very little. I would much prefer to travel to 1 city in 1 country at one time and then stay in that city for 29 days, and in 29 days I will cover like maybe 20 to 25 different places. At each place I will stay for, at each location that I go to, means like each attract, like maybe a museum or a temple or a snow ski center, I will stay for between 4 hours to 10 hours, which means I really cover every corner, everything, Or maybe if I go to a snow ski center, I will stay there from early morning until late at night, until from opening time until closing time. I will not like rush or no rush another place. I will just really make full use of the facility at one place, enjoy to the max, and then next day I'll go to another interesting place in the same city, in the same country. I'm not rushing around. So okay, even if I tell people, Okay, I just went to one city in one country. It may sound less impressive, but actually I get to do much more interesting things, right? And I get to become very familiar with that one city. Plane is getting nearer and nearer to the buildings and the hills below. You can see that the buildings and the hills appear to be nearer and nearer.
Through landing station.
Ladies and gentlemen, as well to landing to Guangzhou, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the fasten seatbelt.
In case you're wondering, why is it that I usually stay for only 29 days instead of 30 days? Even though many countries allow Singapore passport holders to stay for 30 days, why do I choose to leave after 29 days of stay only? The logic is that if I stay for 29 days, if something happens and my return flight was cancelled by the airline or some other reasons, or for some other reasons the flight was cancelled, at least I still have time to look for an alternative flight home. Whereas if I were to book for 30 days stay, and if the return flight was somehow cancelled for whatever reason, it's going to be very stressful for me to desperately look for a return flight ticket, since I would likely only have a few hours to solve the problem, right? So by choosing to stay for 29 days, it means that in case of any problem with the return flight airline or return flight ticket, I still have an opportunity to correct the problem, and I will never ever overstay. That's the reason why usually I stay for 29 days only instead of 30 days, even though I'm allowed to stay for 30 days visa free in many different countries. plane is about to land now, or is getting ready to land at Baiyun International Airport, Guangzhou, China. The plane has landed at Baiyun International Airport at Guangzhou City, China. So here I'm going to stay for 29 days to explore various interesting places. I'll try to go to 20 to 25 different locations during these 29 days at Guangzhou City, China.
I think I'm gonna go back to go hotel and just sleep for a few hours. So tired.
It's now about 9:25 a.m. morning on 15th of September 2025. I'm now at Guangzhou Baiyun International Airport in China. I'm now out of the airport and I'm on my way to look for the metro MRT subway station. The subway station will connect me from the airport, from the Baiyun International Airport. The metro subway station will then connect me to another metro station or subway station that is very near to the hotel. Okay, so by doing this, I will be able to get near to the hotel without taking a long distance private car.